So if you numb yourself out with the pain and you don't choose to heal, you're numbing yourself out for the love that you get to have.
Welcome to the Love Atlas. We're all on a journey to find connection, build healthy relationships, and navigate this beautiful life. To be honest, relationships can be amazing and they can also be a little tricky. Ishita Bhama is a guided speaker, a healer, and she's also a spiritual leader. So why not introduce yourself, Ishita?
Hi, thank you everyone for listening, and thank you, Sanana, for having me on the show. Um, so I kind of started my journey as we kind of all do. We experience heightened sensitivity as children to the other side, to the spiritual realm. And so as a child, I was already seeing things, I was feeling things, I would know things.
Mhm.
But I thought it was just something that we don't talk about because no one else was talking about it. So it was just a problem that I could just I could not think away rather. And when I was doing that, there were moments in my life that I noticed I was really interested in just spirituality in general. So I didn't know that what I was seeing was exactly connected to what I wanted to explore. But as a child, I was born in India, and my favorite thing would be to go to the temple and just sit there and pray. Like that's my favorite thing as a 3-year-old to do. And then after that, I would love to talk philosophy with my dad as I got older. I'd go to like the bookstore and just sit there and read spiritual books. And so when I went off to college, I was really excited because I had some free time to myself. And I would go to class, but then I'd come back and just sit there and meditate. And so my ability started to just really increase, and I didn't know what was going on. So I went and found some spiritual training. So I was doing my training alongside college, and I would just tell people in my classes, hey, find me in this empty university classroom. I'm doing readings. Come on over.
Oh,
And
wow.
then people started like referring me out and all that. And I still didn't believe like this was for me. I was living in the Midwest at the time, and it was just like, there was really not space for this.
Mhm.
So I just decided to go and get my master's in elementary education. I went and was a teacher for a little bit, but
Yeah.
I was, yeah. So I went and I kept getting calls for readings during school hours and things like that. And I was like, okay, well, fine, I'll just do it. And, eventually one thing led to another. And I think you just can't escape a path that's for you, whether
Absolutely.
it's a relationship or whether it's like a career route or whether it's your life purpose, whether it's a journey you need to go on spiritually, a place you need to travel to. You just can't escape what's destined for you. And so in this case, it was just me diving deep into this work. And so I feel really grateful to be able to help people. I speak at events, I teach, I have a retreat in Bali coming up. I had a retreat in Greece before last year, and I help people to tap into their intuitive abilities. I say my job is to help you tap into deep healing and connect to your intuitive abilities, because I believe that everyone is intuitive. We've lived lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of
Yeah.
trusting our intuition. And that's the thing that gets us to our life purpose, to our destined destinations. And when we get there, we only have us to trust. And our personal guidance system, that intuition, is what we take with us to be able to navigate that.
That's incredible. Tell us a little bit about how do you
So
guide?
I do readings, and all of the work that I do is kind of like channeled work, even the talks or any of my events and workshops and retreats. So in that particular case, if I had a client come to me and tell me that they're trying to get some clarity around a relationship, first thing I would do is, tap into my intuition. And then also, I love relationships. I tend to get a lot of clients around like wanting to know about relationships. So I tend to find that there are 3 types of relationships that you go through energetically. Just as a reader, this is what I've seen. Um,
Mhm.
and those 3 relationships are karmic relationships, soulmates, and your divine partner. So you could also use the word twin flame for this, but I feel like twin flame has got a really bad rap
Mhm.
lately, so I
Yeah.
don't use that.
Mhm.
But so karmic relationships are these relationships that tend to be toxic, and you really feel like so magnetically drawn to one another, but no matter what you do, no matter how much work you do on each other or yourselves, it doesn't work out, and it's not healthy for you to be with each other. The third relationship, or the second relationship, is soulmates, and we have multiple different soulmates. They're not just lovers, they're, our brothers and sisters, our mothers, our fathers, our aunts, our uncles. And those are just relationships, I believe, that are souls you've already worked with, you've done lessons with. And so they're this almost like the stepping stone as you evolve through this lifetime that you're on, to go and reintegrate the information that you've had, the learning, the experiences you had with them, so that you can be able to remember that, have awareness, and then keep moving forward to find that divine counterpart for you.
Mm.
So it's like they're the people that feel like home instantly. They're the people who feel like comfortable, but they're your comfort zone, not your comfort growth. And
Okay. Got it. Got it. That makes absolute sense. And how do you know that you found the divine partner?
so your divine partner is the one who is your ultimate mirror in life. And that means they're the people who are going to make you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm really being seen right now. This is really tough, but I also really feel so aligned and magnetically drawn to them. And I feel like I have to be with them. And there's something there. I don't necessarily know what it is, but I know that there's a purpose. And you will notice the universe keeps putting you together no matter what. Like, this is something you can't avoid.
Right.
And but the truth is, some people don't always get to this relationship in their lifetime because it takes work. So it's first you do all the healing work on you. And then once you've reached a level of healing, you get relationships that become your ultimate mirror for you to
Mhm.
heal to another level. And that's, if you're lucky enough to find it, your divine counterpart. So with a client, I'll tell them, hey, I'm looking energetically, and you might have had lifetimes with this person, but this is your divine counterpart, or this isn't, or let me tap into your energy and see what you need, and let's see where the root of the problem is around you either attracting this type of relationship that isn't healthy for you, or what you're destined to do, what soul contract you have with this person to be able to amplify both your evolution in this lifetime. So I'll actually sit down and read all that information.
Yeah, no, that's great. And then have you ever witnessed, and this is a question for yourself, uh, maybe can you share a story of witnessing unconditional love or something that you've manifested in your life as far as relationships go?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not lucky enough to have a child yet, but I hope that's going to be in my future. I think it is. But I do have my own puppy, and they have unconditional love. I do feel like there's they open up this part of your heart that maybe wasn't opened up to before. And I think this also goes with parent children relationships. So I had a client who was really trying to conceive a baby. She was getting older, she had tried for years and nothing was working. We worked together in my intuitive program, and the truth is, when we heal, we start manifesting things like this. And so she conceived, and then she asked me to be her child's godmother. And it was such a blessing.
Yeah.
Um, but to see the love that she has for this child after everything she went through, and then to finally be able to bring this child into her life, there's nothing like it. To see the smile on her face, to feel like there's really so much, not that um our only purpose is to be of service for our children, but to see her feel like she's getting to have an added purpose to her life.
Yeah.
It's so expansive, and it feels really healing to be a part of. I'm really feeling lucky to be able to be her godmother too. So unconditional love comes in so many different ways.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then as far as you mentioned, healing, um, you have to first heal, and then she was able to, for example, this lady was able to conceive after that. So how does the healing work take place, and how do you support your clients during that process?
So I think especially for relationships, one thing that you need to hit on to be able to really experience this healing in relationships is healing your inner child. So we go in depth in that. And that's the first tool we learn how to do in my psychic container, my psychic program. Because it's almost like every single pattern that inner child is stuck in, any trauma, any sadness, any anger that it experienced, there's little fragments of your soul that are literally stuck in those experiences. So it's almost like we time travel in a way. We pull this energy back into ourselves. And when I look and see, when I lead inner child workshops or I see people heal their inner child, it's almost like that part of your heart chakra, it's coming back to you. So you have a wholeness within you. So chakra comes back to us. And so when you're in alignment with who you are and you have that wholeness within yourself, you can actually attract that person who is the right relationship for you. So that is the first thing that we do. We do past life healing. We release karma. We also go through like releasing any contracts that you might have had. And then we also do like a lot of healing around even your own birth and your family and releasing energy around that. So there's layers of it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then have you ever, as you mentioned, you're intuitive, we all are intuitive. Um, can you think of a moment in your life where I guess the divine guidance warned you about a good connection? Maybe where you thought like
Mm.
this is a good connection, but then after that you realize, okay, this person might not be right for me.
I hear you. Yeah. I mean, I think we all have those times. And I think we need to go through that because that's our experience. Hold on one second, let
Yeah, yeah, no worries.
me. Sorry, I was like, what's happening? Okay. So I think we all have experiences where we've had some sort of experience with one of those types of relationships, either karmic, soulmate, or well, eventually our divine partner. But I think we go through soulmate and karmic quite often. And so for me, there's been instances like that for sure, where the universe has been showing, yeah, go for it, whether I'm pulling cards or whether I'm intuitively feeling it or talking to any of my psychic friends. But the truth is, we see where we need to see in the moment. So we see if this is an aligned path right now for us,
Mhm.
and we might not see if it's a lesson or if it's something that we are going to, really cherish for the rest of our lives. The truth is you can't necessarily give it your all and find out if you don't invest in something. And
Absolutely.
so love is like that's what love is. You have to kind of throw yourself into the abyss and see what happens. And yeah, you might get hurt, but also there's a process of deep love that humans get to experience. We the amount of love that you get to have is the amount of amount of pain that you experience in life, because we live in a duality right now, a duality universe. The amount of pain that you can push yourself through, surpass, and go through is the amount of love that you can feel for yourself. So if you numb yourself out with the pain and you don't choose to heal, you're numbing yourself out for the love that you get to have. So I mean, there were experiences for me for sure that were those kinds of things. And as I grew and as I learned and as I tapped into my intuition, I kind of am able to navigate that much better and know, okay, well, this is clearly not for me, even though, I've finished those lessons. It's just I'm not open to that. And there's ways that we can talk to the universe and communicate what we want, because we don't necessarily have to go through all the experiences of pain and like a slow process to heal if we just tap in.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And I love that tapping in. It's so important to do that. I wanted to know, since you've had so many clients throughout the years, what does a happy relationship look like for most people?
It's a really good question. A happy relationship for people looks like so they're on a team. They're working together. So they know that they're both individuals who have come together consciously to create life in a way that they want to. So it could be literally creating life like a baby, or creating a life for themselves where they're adventuring or serving people or being able to learn more about themselves too. So happiness in a couple really encompasses this sense of purpose, or it's very purpose driven. So it can be finding your purpose together, even though those purposes are individual, or having a purpose together and really helping serve in that way. But the reason why I say purpose is because that's our souls at the end of the day. Like, we come in as this soul to be able to evolve, and that's what's important for us overall.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do that, we know that the relationships in our lives get affected in positive ways or potentially negative ways. So when we are on a path of alignment or a path of our purpose, then we amplify everything, so that there's a gift that we give just being our authentic selves in purpose. And
Mm-hmm.
that is gifted to our partners and to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So they realize this on some level, and they're willing to keep going. And even if there's struggles, they're willing to work through that because they know there's something deeper there that's bigger than themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is one non-negotiable that you think everyone should have when it comes to being in a relationship?
Well, I mean, I think being seen and authentic is something that we talked about, and there's no way that any relationship will last if there's no foundation of respect around how to see the person and allowing them to be seen authentically. So that is just like the number one foundation you have to have. Like,
Can you
there
give it,
has,
can you give an example of that?
yeah. So someone who um let's say there's two people in a relationship, and one person really wants to explore a new career path, or live in a new country because that could mean something really big for themselves and their own growth.
Mm-hmm.
um the other person is going to be put into a something I call like a growth period, a period of growth. So that means, oh my God, everything is changing. They're changing. I don't remember who they are. This is weird. This is different. And that can be anxiety inducing. But that partner gets to decide if they can be in support of this change so that they can both grow together, or they can decide, oh no, 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 like this relationship, like I can't do this. It's like that's like not okay, because what about me? The partner who finds balance, or the partners who work on finding balance between each other in instances where they have to completely shift their life, is what allows both of them to be seen and heard and felt, and like a safe enough space to feel comfortable to be authentic and take
Absolutely.
risks,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. And you never know what life may throw at you, especially when it comes to a partnership. And as you mentioned, being authentic and being able to share rather than living in fear, like, oh, if I tell my partner that I'm considering moving out of the country, or I would love to do something like that. You shouldn't be living in fear. You should be able to share your aspirations and your dreams. And at the same time, make decisions together. As you mentioned, teamwork. At the end of the day, two people are with each other because they want to be with one another. And, by discussing and having a nice conversation, it could be challenging at times because we are still so stuck in our own ways where this is what I want. But at the same time, it's like, okay, you know what? This is what I want, but what does the other person want as well? And being compassionate which can be challenging at times. And as you mentioned, three different kind of relationships depending on what phase you're in. Are there any patterns that you're seeing um, across the board when it comes to people being in healthy relationship? Like, what does a healthy relationship look like?
I think overall a healthy relationship, kind of what you said, like you summed it up really well. They want to be in it together no matter what. And this is different from codependence.
Mm-hmm.
So codependence is when you feel like you need to be able to be together so you can survive. And like it literally feels like, oh my God, I can't breathe without the other person.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you're in a happy relationship, there is that space between, like being away from each other and being together, and also knowing that you're going to be able to work through things no matter what and give it a real fair shot, and being willing to forgive when there is hurt, being willing to communicate that in an authentic way, and really saying, look, I'm really scared right now to tell you this, or I'm really nervous, or I'm really angry that you did this, but this hurt me or this scared me. And then the other person, maybe they need some time away, but then they'll come back and say, yeah, I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
So I see like communication is across the board one of the most strongest foundation happy couples have. So when I do like couples readings, I'll actually see like their communication style and how their energy flows between each other. And whether there are people who just kind of like don't communicate a lot and say like they can, it's kind of like a telepathic level. Like they'll just kind of know what each other needs, and will be supportive of each other, or literally they will talk through stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they feel like they can't talk through stuff, they know, okay, well, this isn't healthy. Let's go get somebody else to be in between us so that we can get a neutral perspective, someone who doesn't know us, and then we can be able to work through this. Because at the end of the day, I want you, you want me, and we want this life together.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's possible to make it work as well. And there are different phases, as I mentioned earlier, where first of all, you have to get to know the person in order to really communicate properly with them and learn their style of communication as well. Because there are small, small things that can come in between a couple where especially through text messaging. It's like, what do you mean by that? And a lot of times there's misunderstandings or because we're not asking the other person the right questions like, hey, I didn't understand. What did you mean by that? Instead of questioning, we just hold that resentment and we think, oh, this is what they meant. And we create stories in our mind. Unfortunately, it's human nature to do that. So I think it's great to be able to have open communication, and it's not something that's easy. It takes a lot of work. It can take even years of work, where you don't just come together knowing it all. There's no relationship book that you can read and then all of a sudden you applied it in your life. It takes years and years of practice and tears at times as well to be able to share and make the other person understand, like, hey, this is what I'm bringing to the table and my intentions are pure. I need you to trust me, and vice versa, because trust is huge in a relationship. And the only way you can get through communicating as well is like, do I even trust your words, right? Communication is great, but I need to be able to trust your words. So I think you pinpointed it. Like, I would say that is super important and it takes a lot of work. It's not something that happens easily. And but each time you communicate and you address a conflict, you improve every single time. And then you realize, oh, wow, how far have I really come from the beginning to the end? Both partners, as you mentioned, divine partnership, that's what I'm thinking about, where the mirror is in front of your face and you're realizing, oh, wow, this is where I need to improve. Do you have any advice that you can share with everyone listening, especially when it comes to relationships?
Yeah. So as someone, I'm an only child, and I moved around a ton as a kid. So, and I didn't have necessarily someone else to be doing the moving with and experiencing these new schools and homes with. So, and that's kind of why I think I sought out spirituality and these books to give me answers and understanding about the human experience. And I think some advice that I would tell her, because she had to make so many changes and let go of so many relationships at such a young age and had to deal with so much instability, I would tell her that, well, hindsight's 2020. Everything that you're going through right now is going to make sense. And even though it doesn't feel good, and even though it can feel really disheartening, a part of you is going to be able to help heal a lot of people and be able to see that your light was always shining and that the right people eventually came into your life.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible advice. And I think that's similar to the advice that I would give as well, because it's so true, right? Like at the moment, we might not see it, especially when we're in pain or we're not in a good place. But then if we truly think about any of the experiences we've been through, at that moment, we might think of it as a negative experience, but fast forward, looking back to it, it's like, okay, now it all makes sense. So we have to think about it in this manner at the moment as well, where it's like, okay, this is the present moment. Yes, I'm hurt right now. However, I know that it will get better and it will make sense soon. And it's tough, right? Because we can't ignore the pain. We have to experience it and we have to go through it. But then I would say the most important thing is to really focus on happiness and really dive deep when it comes to happiness and enjoy the moments, because there's ups and downs in life, so enjoy the moments. Like when you're really enjoying your life, like that's my motto, and I'm like, just go all in and like just be happy and live it and be in the moment. And when you experience sadness, live through that as well and know that it's going to be okay and it's okay to cry it out.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, cry, like we have to be able to know that, just like you said, be able to work through those emotions so that we can get to the other side and experience that level of joy.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, this was such a good conversation. Thank
Thanks
you.
for having me.